Hello, welcome or welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz. I will be guiding you on this journey. And this journey is going to start with a yap sesh. I'm going to make an intro, basically, that I'll put at the beginning of all of the readings. Honestly, because I just cannot repeat myself 12 or 24 times. My throat and body refuse. So anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna put the timestamp in the description. So if you're just kind of like you can fast forward to when the reading actually starts. And it's actually kind of funny. Like I keep stutter. It's actually like I have a lot of energy in my body, and it's like it's all trying to come out at one time, and it's like making me stutter. I've had to redo this video. This is the fourth time so far, because it's like my mind goes faster than my mouth, and then I'm like confused. I'm like, wait, what am I saying versus like what am I thinking? Like, they're just like not lining up, which is interesting. Like there is actually a new moon in Sagittarius tomorrow, which is actually right on top of my Neptune. So maybe that's why. And it's a sixth house. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm like, I'll find a way to blame astrology for anything. So I'm hoping now that I said that out loud and that I got that energy out of me, that I can just kind of like ground myself and get through this so that we can get on to the readings. So I don't know what I've already said already, but I will put the timestamp in the description so you can fast forward to when the reading actually starts. The first thing that I want to yap about, or that I want to share with you, is that I've decided, it's like I've been thinking about this for a couple weeks, but I haven't actually said it out loud. So it like keeps coming out weird, but whatever, like, well, it'll come out right at some point. But there's an offering that I want to extend to you. It's a 2-card spread, or a 2-card draw. The first card is the door, which is, the obstacle, the path, the, thing that you're coming up against, the opportunity, whatever, that type of thing. All the things that we think about when we think doors, right? It's either opening, closing, anywhere in between. It's something to also like step through and have curiosity around. And then the second card is going to be the key, which is the guidance or advice for how to move through it. And it will be written, and it'll be $3.33. Basically, how it will work is that you will Venmo me $3.33 and provide your email address in the description. And if you don't feel comfortable putting your email address in the description, I will provide my email address, and you can send me a screenshot of the payment. And then, of course, I'll have your email address to respond to. I'm trying to make it like as least complicated as possible. And I think that like if you make the thing private, then nobody else will see your information anyway. It'll be obviously just between me and you. So anyway, $3.33. It's a 2-card spread. Once I receive your, notification of your Venmo, then I'll shuffle the cards. I'll pull 2 cards for you, and I'll write down basically like what comes to me. And literally anything that does come to me. So there's not necessarily like a limit on how long or short it's going to be. I do intend to get those back to you within 24 to 48 hours, or shorter than that. I'm just kind of giving myself a little bit of a buffer there. And I'm going to be offering these for basically as long as it feels good, like for as long as the energy is there. So I hope that made sense. If you have any questions, of course, leave a comment, or you can reach out to me as well through email. Like I'll have my email in the description. Instagram works too. But yeah, so that's the most important part. I'm glad I actually got it out this time, though, and I'm trusting that it makes sense. The other thing for this reading, we're going to be doing a what is ending and what is beginning. And I was kind of like stewing or whatever, with the thought of doing 2026 readings. And I was just kind of like it just didn't feel quite right. Like, I don't want to do like a 12-month overview, because who remembers that? Like, who remembers that? I couldn't even tell you if what I heard or saw like in any of the year ahead readings that like I listened to or watched in for 2025, right? So I don't want to spend a lot of time or even like dedicate a lot of time to going month by month. So then I was like, well, I could just maybe do just a general spread, what's coming, what's going, like what's going to be the overall vibe. That didn't quite feel. Anyway, it finally came to me last night that I'm sure you've probably heard in multiple places that 2025 is a 9-year, which is completion, right? And with that means that 2026 is a 1-year, which is obviously a new beginning. So it's, about clearing out cycles, what cycle is truly coming to an end, and what are we now, I want to say blossoming into, which is interesting. Like blossom never like crossed my mind, but it's like, what are we now I almost kind of like, I keep getting this image of like a waterfall of, it's literally just cycling into the next thing. Like it doesn't necessarily even feel like a big stop and a big start. But it's almost just like that, the natural progression or even transition. Like, what are we transitioning into? And I also, whoops, mother of pearl. I looked up like what were the last 9s and 1 years, right? So the last 1 year would have been 2017. And let me just give you an example for myself, because I also think it's really cool to just reflect on where you are, where you were, and also even just to kind of have like dates ish, or in this case, years, like, to think back to 2017, for instance, which was a 1 year. And what was going on for you in 2017, but also what was going on for you in 2016, because that would have been a 9-year, right? And for me, in 2016, I got married. I'm pretty sure I got married during a Venus retrograde, which is not good. And and I want to say maybe a Pisces eclipse. I want to say, I can't remember for sure, but whatever, that was 2016. In 2017, I left that marriage. I put down my soul dog, the dog that like grew up with me, basically, kind of, I got her when I was, I think I was 19 when I got her. And when I put her down, I was 30 something. I'm like, what's dang it, I keep hitting the wrong button. That is so annoying. Let's see. I can't do math that fast. 34. In 2017. I was actually 33. I had to put her down in April. My birthday was in May. And actually, 5 days after my birthday is when I separated from my husband. And then a week after that is when I moved out. Didn't look back. I moved 3 times. Let me see. 1, 2, 3 times within 6 months. I moved into the place that I've been in since then. Like, so I've been here for the last 8 years, 9, however long, however long that's been. And yeah. So that was my 2016 and 17 actually too, which is interesting, is that going back even further, 2008 would have been the previous 1 year. And in 2008 I got my first like college degree. I got an associate's in graphic design. I got my first like real adult job, which was terrible, but I was independent, on my own with that. And then, so, that would have been a 1 year. I got that degree. I got that job. I can't remember if like anything else major happened that year. I don't think so. I might have moved like closer to that job. I just can't remember if it was that year or the following year. But also, okay, so 2008 would have been a 1 year. Then 2016 was a 9 year, which would have ended, that cycle. And in 2016, I got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. So it's just kind of interesting how, within that period of time, I got like 2 degrees and also like really officially ended my college or, like continuing education or higher education career, basically, because I don't think I would go back I've thought about going back for like, like an ultrasound technician or like x-rays or, something like that. But I just don't think I can. So anyway, it's interesting, so yeah, I mean, this is also an invitation for you to just kind of reflect and, where are you now? Where have you been? Did anything major happen in those years? The 1 year prior to 2008 would have been 1999, which is kind of funny because there was like that whole Y2K, kind of thing that was like happening around that time. I mean, obviously that was, the year 2000, but it was like the freaking out, also Prince has a song, 1999, hello. The prior one would have been 1990, and then 1981, 1972, 1963. So basically, subtract 9 from there or add 9, whatever. But yeah, it's just kind of cool to look back and also even just to like kind of welcome in a fresh beginning and to recognize too, like where you are, and maybe there are patterns or relationships, behaviors, thoughts, jobs, careers, whatever, that you have released or healed, from, and that's creating the energy or allowing the energy for you to move forward, and like I said, like transition into something new. And also, like, I don't know if it is just me or if it's like a collective thing of feeling ready for it. Like, I think I mentioned maybe the curiosity thing, which I think curiosity also breeds excitement. Just like being open, trusting ourselves, really just staying connected to our own truth. So, I haven't quite like necessarily figured out what the spread is going to look like. I think what we're going to do is pull some cards for like what is completed. Maybe I should write this down. So one pile, what's completed or ending. It's not even like leaving. I think completed is a good word. And then pile 2 is what's I keep wanting to like write starting, like what's starting. But again, it doesn't feel like a stop start. And I just cannot think of the word that, like, I mean, transition is like coming through, but it's like, what is another word? And like, do we look up the thesaurus? What's unfolding? Taking shape. Coming into focus, maybe. Activating. Okay. I mean, we'll see what words end up finding their way in, like, once I'm shuffling the cards. But like, what are we, like, I keep also wanting to say like falling into, because like I was saying, I keep seeing this like waterfall. Which also like feels very Fool card. Taking that leap, going with the flow, trusting. Also even just the water thing with intuition, and even like trusting like those big emotions. And I'm thinking even too, like the actual waterfall part, right, where it's the water actually falling. That to me almost kind of feels like the transition part, right? Because it's kind of like there's a direction that the water is heading into, right? But there's not necessarily control of it either. There's a direction and trust. Like, so honestly, I even fucking love that. Wow. I think these readings are actually going to be beautiful, and I'm really excited to get into it. And also, I just want to say, how cute is this effing tarot bag, dude? I'm going to put the Etsy shop of the girl who creates these in the description as well. She has 3 different sizes of these. I only have this size, but I have 3 or 4 of these all in different fabrics, but this one holds like this size of a tarot deck, but it'll hold a larger one. Like it's almost like oracle deck size. But look at the, you can choose 2 different fabrics. I'll keep a deck in there, and then I'll keep a selenite wand in there also, which is, it's like perfect. There's a clip, oh, I'm obsessed with these. And they're not just necessarily for tarot decks, but also, like it holds its shape. Like, bro, look at this. So cute. So anyway, we're using the Light Seer Tarot because honestly, like this is probably like my all-time favorite deck. And I'm also so glad that it said yes to me to do these readings, because before every reading I do, for YouTube readings, I'll ask, do you want to do all of the readings? Because you got to do them all. But I shuffle the deck and either a yes card comes out or a no card. And I honor that, because we're all about consent over here. So anyway, I'm so glad that the Light Seers Tarot agreed to do these readings for us, because again, like I think that they're going to be beautiful. And I think that's all that I want to say for now. So let's jump into the reading. Great. So this is a reading for Taurus, wherever Taurus is in your chart. I trust that you listen to the intro, which is where there is a breakdown of how this reading is going to go. And also a special announcement of a new offering from yours truly. So the first set of cards we're going to get is what was mastered in 2025. I knew that again, like if you watched the intro, like I was writing down and I was kind of like having a hard time, like, what words I wanted to use. And it was originally what's completed. But when I was doing the Aries reading, the word mastered came out and I'm like, that's what it is. Like what was mastered in the 9 year of 2025. So we have the Justice card, which I love, but I want one more card at least. I mean, we'll take up to 3. We're not going to take more than 3 because these readings will be long as hell. They already are, like sometimes, but it's YouTube. They're long form videos, So for Taurus, interesting, because that came out reversed. The 9 of Cups. And what's unfolding for Taurus in 2026? This is actually fucking beautiful, actually. I'm probably going to be dropping F-bombs all over the place, so... Ooh. Ace of Cups and the Strength card. I heard... Okay. Interesting, another... Okay. Let me see, what kind of room are we working with here? We're going to move these down a little bit so that there's less of a glare. We'll move these over here. Okay. Also interesting that the 2 cards that came out halfway sideways is they are both cups, and that they're both pretty much like the same angle. I don't shuffle reversals into my decks, like my OCD. I can't handle cards going 2 different ways like when I shuffle them. But If the cards come out in the reverse, of course we honor that. And also the other thing with reversals is, for me, this is only for me. I don't know if I've seen anybody else say I'm like out of breath for no reason. I'm like, let me just kind of ground myself here for a second. Okay. For me, when the top of the card comes out on the left side, it's working its way into upright. If the top of the card comes out on the right side, it's working its way into reverse. So, think clockwise. And again, that's just something I made up because that makes the most sense to me anytime. Oh my God. Okay, let's just get into this because we're going to take our time, I think, with this. We're Tauruses anyway. I'm a Taurus sun. Shouts out to Taurus placements. We still have like Uranus and Taurus until sometime next year. So I think things are also like they're still being mastered, released, understood, even like becoming clearer in the sense of understanding. I just kind of wanted to clarify that. Like what I mean by clear is just like truly understanding yourself, maybe. But let's get into this. So we have Justice and the Nine of Cups for what has been mastered in 2025 as a 9 year. The Justice card is Libra. It's also an 11. So you could have in one way, I keep hearing more ways than one actually, because there's 2 ones. But and that these equal. Oh, that they equal a 2. Sorry. Okay. I thought they equal the 1, but math. So, in more ways than one, maybe you found yourself starting over, or, and I'm only saying starting over because 1/1 is a new beginning, right? But the Justice card talks about the scales balancing and fairness. And I also think what's interesting with this card is that there's a shadow side, and then there's, like the light side, and there's this balance or even like a mirroring happening. And what I am hearing, like what I am feeling, and I also just realized that for Aries and for you guys, I didn't set the intention of the readings. So, I was like, just kind of like, should I do that now? And I heard no, like, we know what your intention is. So, okay. Whoever that is. And, I trust that, So I think the Nine of Cups being like in the reverse and working its way upright, to me, like reversals also can feel like internal processes versus an external expression, right? And the Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment, your desires being met. I mean, truly, they found this treasure. I mean, like your needs being met, like having an abundance of what you need or what you want. And this pairing feels like what has been mastered is what that is for you. Because maybe throughout the years, whenever, right, there's been an imbalance between your what would bring you happiness or satisfaction, fulfillment, purpose, right? Like there has been something that has been out of balance with that, and maybe it was your approach, or like even like a sense of entitlement or lack and scarcity, because I feel like that's kind of where the entitlement comes from, is a sense of lack or scarcity, which is interesting. Like, I don't, yeah. Um, I'm like, I keep like sitting here with my eyes closed too, which is interesting because it's also on this justice card, her eyes are closed. And literally, like every time I open my eyes, I just kind of close them again. Because, right, like I don't even feel like I'm doing a good job explaining this, but I also think that's probably why I had the feeling that we're gonna like kind of work through this a little bit slower, because I do want to be intentional and clear in what I'm saying, and if it doesn't come out clear the first time, the clarity will come. And maybe that's also too like something that you have been working with, and maybe that's something like internally that you have been like your internal landscape, right? Because how we feel on the inside is what we perceive on the outside. So if we have imposter syndrome, if we have, limiting beliefs, if we have trauma, right, that we are unaware of or not working through, giving attention to, then it influences how we perceive our external environments. Like, I feel like an imposter, so everybody else perceives me as being an imposter, when literally they're all just thinking about themselves. They are not thinking about you. Truly, right? Because that's what you're doing. Like, you're thinking about yourself in relation to them because you feel a certain way about yourself. So they must feel that way about you as well. And 9 times out of 10, that is not correct. So, like buzzwords or whatever, like shadow work, dark night of the soul, inner child, um, you know, uh, trauma healing, um, all those things. It's not even that necessarily that you've only been working on that this last year, but no doubt you've been working on that for much longer. Personally, for me, um, that started back up again for me in 2018. Like, I mentioned in the intro about 2017 and what that looked like for me. And I moved into this place in November. And I was just like, I'm going to give myself the rest of the year to just literally fucking breathe. Like, I held my breath from like literally the moment that I separated from my ex-husband to the day that like I moved in here. So I was like, I need to fucking breathe. Like, I need to be able to like spread my energy out too, and literally just be. And then in 2018, I'll start working on how I ended up in a marriage that I would leave 8 months later. How did how did I end up here? Like, why? Like, I'm the one that created this this scenario, like this life, right? Like, I'm the one that did that, so I need to figure out why the fuck you right. Like, I wound up there, and I started unpacking all of that, and I shit you not, this year I did EMDR therapy in July. I mentioned that in July or August readings, because I took a break from YouTube readings for like a month or two, because I was like, I am dealing with a lot of grief for a life already lived. And, I can't focus on like something else right now. So it was this year, and in part because of EMDR therapy, but it has not been until this year that I started actively feeling different, perceiving myself different, recognizing that how I'm perceiving the outside is different. I still have my old programming. I still have, that this shadow side, right? 'Cause I don't think we ever get rid of it. I think we learn to work with it. We learn that, like when those gremlins, as Brene Brown calls them, come up, we don't attach ourselves to those beliefs or those stories anymore. We can recognize, yep, that is that is a program or a belief or a system that I operated from, or that I believed about myself, or whatever, or about the world, or about what's possible. But that's not true for me anymore. And I have the ability, the capacity, the capability to choose different from my truth, from a more balanced thing, because they are holding the sword of truth here, which is what these two cups are hanging from. Or, the scales, or. So again, there is this feeling of, it's not even necessarily feeling the fear and doing it anyway. I think you've probably already worked through that part. Like, that part you already understand, or you already have like incorporated. But it's like, I feel like I actually wrote this down last night. Let me see if I didn't write it down. Ugh. It's got to be in my brain somewhere then. But the one thing that I did write down that caught my eye is, uncertainty happens when we break patterns. Because we don't have old programming. We don't have homeostasis. We still have it. Let me actually clarify that. We still have homeostasis. We still have that old programming that just immediately, just like that, right? It just comes up, it comes out. But we have the awareness. We've done the work to recognize when that knee-jerk reaction happens, and we can say, whoa, right? Like, that's old shit. That's not true for me anymore. I already know what decisions based on that programming where that's going to get me. And I'm choosing different. And then the fear kicks in, which is, uncertainty, because it's like, oh shit, like I don't have a playbook on this, right? Like, I don't have an experience that has an outcome, good, bad, or otherwise, that I can rely on, right? So that's when uncertainty what did I say? I have to open my eyes again. Uncertainty happens when we break patterns. I really think that you have spent a lot of time, again, on your inner, like just recognizing that how you feel about things, and even to like what brings you purpose, what makes you feel fulfilled, how the external expression of that mirrors your inner landscape. And I really think that you have really dove really fucking deep into yourself. There's this other quote that has come up recently that hit me in my, feels. The quote is, "Go deeper, not wider." Like, it's not about considering more things, or and when I think wider, it's like your energy field, right? Like, instead of expanding, I guess it's recognizing that the answer is deeper within you. And too, though, that whole saying, the only way out is in, that's what this is too. The shadow work, the therapy, the digging into like what is wish fulfillment for you. Also, even like, how do you express yourself? Like, all of a sudden this blue hair just like stuck out to me. How do you like, has there been some things about your appearance that you want to change? However that is, right? Like, do you want to lose weight? Do you want to gain muscle? Do you want to, focus on flexibility? Do you want to color your hair, get piercings, tattoos, whatever, But it's almost like this. It's almost like because this some sort of chokehold has been taken off of you, or not even like taken off, but like you've stopped having a chokehold on yourself, really, that it almost is like freeing up energy that is coming through as wanting to express yourself differently. Not necessarily, I mean, I guess some of those things. So I was like, it doesn't necessarily have to be permanent. But I guess like tattoos kind of are. I mean, you can get tattoos removed, but, obviously like dyeing your hair, or even just getting one of those color wash like shampoos or something, and I say do it, like get the piercing, get the color wash shampoo, like chop your hair. Also, I think too, like, and maybe this is true for women, but there is so much power in a chop of a haircut. We carry so much identity and emotion and all the stuff with our hair. Like, I remember being, oh God. So I've been married twice in my life already. The first time I was 18, which that doesn't count anymore, right? I mean, it's like more than half my life ago. So it's like off of my report, but, and that lasted a year. I don't have a good track record. Also, like in relationships in general, like, most of my relationships have not been longer than a year and a half. The ones that were longer shouldn't have been. And one time, the first time I was married, it was for a year. Technically, legally, we were married for 2 years, but we were like separated for a year. And then this last time, I was married for 8 months. And our divorce was signed by the judge one day after what would have been our 1 year anniversary, which is honestly, I feel like so cool. Like, just full circle, moment, It's interesting. But anyway, the first time oh my God. Well, I was 19. I was actually probably, well, what year was that? Okay. I wanted to go back, because I'm like, oh shit, that would have been interesting if it would have like fallen into, anyway. So I want to say I was like probably 20. Yeah. I was 20 because, um, anyway, we separated in like November of 2002. So, right? So yeah, I wouldn't have made this change until the following year, but um and part of me is like maybe, well, whatever. I'm getting kind of lost in the semantics. It doesn't matter cuz I'm like, well, maybe it wasn't that year. Maybe it was actually I literally have no clue what exactly the date was, but I chopped my hair off. I like for the longest time, I just had blonde highlights. Like I'm naturally a dirty blonde, I have blue eyes. Um, I was getting blonde highlights. My hair was straight. I straightened my hair, and it was like chest length. And then there was this girl that worked at the salon that I was getting my nails done at, and she had this beautiful blonde A-line bob, and it looked so fucking good on her. And I finally got the courage, which is kind of dumb to think of now, but I finally got the courage to ask her who did her hair. And it was somebody who worked at the salon. So I made an appointment with her and I was like, I want that girl's haircut. And, like just through chatting, like I told her that I was, separated from my husband at the time. Like we weren't divorced yet, but I was still trying to work it out. I was like delusional. But she had the idea, and if I don't know, maybe I'll post a picture. Let me write that down. Because I'm like, fuck it. Actually, I have glamour shots, pictures. Because right around that time, I got braces too. Like I chopped my hair and I got braces. I'm like, I at least know that I have those glamour shot pictures. But anyway, so she had this idea to do my hair in like two-tone. So there would be just one streak down the middle, like a skunk, streak down the middle of my head. Because I also, like, I parted my hair right down the middle and bleached that. And then the rest of my hair would be a dark brown. And she's like, if you don't like it, we can change it back. It might take a little while to get it back to blonde, but she's like, I actually think it's going to look really fucking cool on you. And it's a big change and you're going through a big change. So I was like, okay. And she didn't let me see it until the end of it. And when she turned me around, and I saw it for the first time, I literally just bust out crying. And she's like, oh my God, like, I'm so sorry. We could change it back. It's okay. It's okay. And I was like, no, my God, no, I love it. I felt like a completely different fucking person. A completely different person. I got my lip pierced around that time too at some point. After the haircut. Like I got my, labrae or whatever, piercing around that time. I got a couple tattoos around that time as well. Like, So, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, do it, go for it. Like, truly, there's nothing that can really be undone, right? I mean, like I said, tattoos, of course, you know, they can be removed for the most part. So, if it is a tattoo that you're thinking, I would honestly assume that you already have an idea. Like, there's already, it's not just like an impulsive, I'm going to go get some flash, you know, from wherever. I think you already have an idea. You probably already have an artist. Maybe you are already stashing cash for it. But, you know, if it's a haircut, if it's whatever, you know, I say do it, because I also think too, like I said, right? Like the Nine of Cups would be working its way into upright. And upright, it's like an outward expression. Also, I love that it's a 9 card over here. And 2025 is a 9 year. So I love that. And maybe too, last thing, and we'll, because I realize we haven't even started fucking talking about these cards over here, that you want to maybe express your excitement. You want to express your purpose and fulfillment. And maybe you want to interact with or like do things that make you happy. And that could even be a thing that is attributing to your sense of balance with yourself. You know, it's like, it's not holding yourself back anymore. It's not shrinking. What's even Brene Brown has a thing of, you know, don't shrink, don't puff up, just show up and be seen. Right. And if you've been going through the shadow work, like you have recognized like where you shrink, where you do, you know, like hide out, and you're just kind of like, fuck it. Like, I don't need to do that anymore. And also I don't want to. I want to see how it feels to express my truth, right? Oh, I love that. So over here, let me just, okay, we have the Ace of Cups, the Strength card, the Six of Cups sideways. First thing that I'm noticing, the first thing that I even saw about these two cards, the Ace of Cups and the Strength card, is that in the Ace of Cups, like in the heart here, or in the bowl is a heart here, right? And then the Strength card, she has a heart on a necklace. The odds, truly, the odds of these two cards coming out and having that, I want to say like similarity, whatever the word is, you know, like having that in common, and that they are almost at the same, like this is more at like, you know, holding it at more of the heart chakra. This is kind of more at like the solar plexus. Maybe there's conversations happening between heart chakra, how you feel, love, even, you know, like how you open up to people, vulnerability in there. I feel like Brene Brown is coming through a lot, which I love. I love Brene Brown. I haven't like listened to her in a while. Maybe we need to, but like, okay, so my phone died. You know, I record these on my phone and it died. Oh, bitch. That was like an hour ago or so. And thankfully I even looked at my phone, because I usually don't, because I can't really see the screen unless I stand up. But somebody, thank you, whoever that was, somebody was like, you better check your phone. And also, thankfully, I, like there wasn't much that was missed. I, like when it died, we were just kind of talking about this, relationship here, like with the two hearts on these two cards. And I know like I looked up heart chakra just to make sure I didn't miss something. Love, compassion, empathy, connection, the bridge between the lower physical chakras and the upper spiritual ones, joy, unconditional love, and then solar plexus, which is personal power, self-esteem, willpower, identity, confidence. Did I say that? Well, self-esteem, confidence, purpose. Bro, I'm just going to act like I didn't already say the things that are like coming to my mind. And I'm not going to worry about it because obviously we'll move past it at some point. But, first of all, I mean, and I think I already did say this, the odds of these two cards not only coming out next to each other, but they came out together, right? Like the odds of that, crazy. Not to mention the relationship of that and the meaning of those chakras and in relation to what we were even talking about over here with the Justice card and the Nine of Cups. Also, too, this feels very personal, very you, not necessarily other people type of thing, right? I mean, literally there's nobody, no other person in any of these cards, right? But with the Ace of Cups though, it does signify love, emotions, having like an emotional capacity. And what was coming through before that I do just want to like mention again, and it's so funny because I'm like saying that because I feel like I'm like repeating myself, and I'm not, because you haven't heard this yet. But there was this message about if you are considering getting back out there, like dating again, or the possibility of meeting somebody, that even the energy of that would have and has changed. It's almost like your intention behind that is to connect with somebody who like reflects or like who mirrors who you are now versus attracting fixer-uppers or, like attracting energy siphoners or vampires, or trauma bonds, right? It's coming from a place of loving yourself so deeply that like you will not accept somebody not loving you as deeply, and also they would have to love themselves that much too. You know what I mean? So, that could be a possibility too. And even like with the Strength card, the Six of Cups in the reverse, it really is like moving past an old way. Like I said, right? It's like it's not attracting out of lack or lack of self-esteem even, or the trauma bonds, like I said, right? It's attracting a person or not settling for somebody who kind of doesn't check all of those specific boxes about how they treat you, even their philosophy or their values and their morals around relationships. And too, even like recognizing red flags, and instead of being like, I can work with that, it's almost being like, no, I'm actually not going to work with that. And also I want to say that I don't have my microphone. Obviously my phone has a microphone. I don't know if there is actually even that much of a difference, but I just have my phone plugged in just so it doesn't die again because it's like 40% charged. So anyway, Yeah, little blurb about that. But like I said, there's nobody else in these cards. So even in the sense of, dating, or even like, the people that you meet, and friendships or communities, right? It's with this Ace of Cups, it's like you have the emotional capacity now, you have the availability to want to engage in those type of relationships where there is some sort of like energetic exchange emotionally, right? And by going through like this process and getting really clear within your interior space of what that looks like, where you maybe have held yourself back, or just kind of shot yourself in the foot before you even got going with the shadow side, right? Like there's a balance happening there, and this desire to get back on the horse, I guess. Like that was the thing that's coming through my mind. Otherwise, though, I love that even with the Strength card, because it's a card of Leo, and Leo is like, bam, look at me, right? Like, because they're ruled by the sun, and you can't not be attracted to the sun, or recognize the sun, and even the power and the purpose and effect, right, that the sun has. And I also love that she is kind of transforming, in the traditional depictions, there's a lion and then the person, but in this card, they're transforming. It's like recognizing your own strength. Also too, even being the source of your own strength, like literally almost like pumping yourself up, like, but also the things that I keep hearing in my head is like, fuck it, like, especially if there has been this period of shrinking and puffing up, maybe, like I was saying with the Brene Brown references before, I think, right? Like she has that saying, don't shrink, don't puff up, just show up and be seen, right? Like it has that courage and bravery, and literally the whole feel the fear and do it anyway. Lambs are usually like innocent. Let's see. I'm sure that maybe there's a meaning of the lamb in the Bible. I don't really want to go down that route. Maybe. Let's see. Purity, innocence, sacrifice, redemption. Jesus Christ as a Lamb of God in Christianity, atoning for sins. And it really almost kind of feels like acceptance, like releasing shame. Almost too, like, I keep saying almost too. That's kind of like, where's that coming from? Releasing the shame, forgiving. It's not even forgiveness. It's like acceptance of, you know what? Like all of the everything I have ever done, like I did the best that I could with the information that I had, with the programming and the conditioning and the experiences and all that shit, right? Like I did the best that I could with that. And instead of, like cycling through the shame thing, which is like those gremlins, right? Like we're choosing differently now. Gentleness, new life, loyalty, peace, fertility, luck, community, all those things that we were literally, just talking about. Also, even like with this heart on the necklace and this heart in the bowl here, it's almost like okay, I'm sorry. I should start a tally. Somebody start a tally, like for how many times I now am gonna say almost. Dang it. I don't know why too, that's kind, it's like becoming, or, it's becoming obvious for some reason. I don't know where that's coming from, but like holding on to this new sense of self-esteem, this new lease you have on life type of thing, like carrying it with you and like referencing it, maybe even like write down your like intention, because I know I think the word intention a lot. I've and that became a big thing. That was actually like my word for the year this year, but it did not even occur to me or I didn't even put it into practice until the end of October. So maybe choose a word. My friend is choosing the word deep. I don't know if I said that at like in the first half of this reading or in the intro. I can't remember. I can't remember what she said her word was for last year. Or I'm sorry, this year. My word for this year was intention. I don't know what it's going to be next year. Part of me is like, I should just keep it intention, since it took me until October to actually even, maybe expansion. I don't know. But, maybe you play around with that and you write it down in a couple different places where like you'll see it. I even like, I have this tattoo that says be kind. And I literally got that as a reminder to myself to be nice to myself. So, when I look at it, I can be like, okay, take your foot off your neck, So again, just maybe even, and she's got a tattoo there too. And I know like we were talking about tattoos. So, I mean, hey, maybe it's the year that you get the tattoo or the tattoos. Also, like with the strength card, it's bravery and courage. And I think too, like with the Ace of Cups, like it does take bravery and courage to be vulnerable or to share your emotions or to put yourself in places where maybe you feel vulnerable, like maybe, again, communities, meetups, dating even, right? I mean, like you're putting yourself out there and you have an emotional attachment. You have an emotional like reason behind what you're doing. So it does take courage and bravery to show up and not puff up, to allow yourself to be seen. Even that takes courage, to be authentic, to say the things that come to mind, to take the actions that feel aligned. That takes courage and it takes bravery, and it also takes change, right? Like it requires you to make different decisions than maybe you have before. And again, like I love that this Six of Cups is working its way into the upright, because this is a card of the past, nostalgia, inner child, which we have been talking about heavily, your past in general. I love that this card specifically, we have this child with this puppy here. And even like if you watched the intro I gave, well, was I talking about it? I don't know. Whatever. Like now I'm like, I can't remember if I was talking about it in the intro or if I was talking about it in the first half of this reading. But, even like just using myself as an example, right? Like, and I said that, in 2017, I had to put down my soul dog, my girl, she was my ride or die for, I got her when I was 19 and I was a little pup, like when I was 19, thinking that I was like big and bad. Right. And then, you know, the 6 cups here to this adult and this adult dog. So it's, you know, just the journey from where you've been. And of course it can be when you were a kid, but maybe it was 5 years ago, maybe it was 9 years ago, however old, you know, you were 10 or 9 years ago. Maybe it was months, whatever. But there's this representation of where you were to what you have grown into. And with it being in the reverse like this, there again, there's been this internal process of working through that, even, you know, reflecting on where you were, where you are now, all of the things that have changed in between. So, you know, and I love that. I kind of love that the 2 cards that came out kind of reversed are cups. Even the 6 and the 9, like maybe Cancer. You have like Cancer maybe in your, or 9-6, you know, like maybe 1996 had an effect, you know, like it just kind of stands out maybe. Even too, like with the 1s out here. But yeah, I'm trying to, I feel like I feel like I'm complete with these cards. Again, like I've only done Aries and yours, and they have both been so effing incredible. Amazing. I just need to figure out a title like for your video. But anyway, yeah. Beautiful. You know, 2026 is going to be a year of confidence, showing out, you know, putting yourself out there. Almost to like allowing your heart to lead and trusting that too, because it's one thing to follow your heart. It's another thing to trust it, right? Like there's an element of surrender and trust that needs to go into that. And I think that you do trust yourself enough to do that. Beautiful. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I will talk to you soon. Bye.